Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Yes, I am under the weather again. Yes, this is actually Mom's second time taping Married at First Sight, but you know what? She was determined to get this video out, so here we are to talk about episode 4. You know, the pre-honeymoon to the honeymoon.
The son, and the spouses.
No one cares about the real title because they never show us what we want to see. But you know what? We talk about that every week. We'll talk about that soon eventually in our life. But let's go ahead and dive right into the episode. Mom.
Yes.
Who do you want us to talk about first specifically?
Well, it's not specifically, it's the way the episode goes. So it starts with
well, you
Mitch.
can talk about whoever you want to talk about.
That's true,
first.
but I like to go by episode. Mitch and Kristen. Until we get to know these couples.
I feel like we got to know the couples.
Mitch and Kristen. And then in this episode, we also get to see just a tidbit of Ben and Morgan. They finally get married at the end. So
their part was kind of like thrown in there.
Well,
Did you think so?
Yeah, it was thrown in there because it wasn't really a lot. We just saw them get married. We didn't see no reception. We didn't see no pictures. We didn't see none of that. So hopefully next week when we see them, they'll come on the show and then they'll be at the honeymoon. They'll fast forward that.
They're not going to do anything else. They're going to just throw them into Mexico.
Well, they still need to have their own little reception time with their friends and family too. Because what's the point of having their friends and family meet up if they're not going to enjoy it too?
Because they need to follow the timeline. He got the vid, so they need to hop back on the timeline. You know?
Okay.
It's like a school project. You miss a week, you can't go back. Gotta go forward.
Not for extra credit.
No.
Well, anyway, so the other couples, we see them the night of the reception, and they're getting ready for bed, and a few scenes are interesting to me with the couples. What stood out to me was Mitch and Kristen. I noticed that Kristen, she took off all her makeup, which she probably would have anyways, but most, if you meet a stranger, you probably want to keep it on because that's how they met you. They really haven't seen you dressed down. But she was with taking it off so Mitch could see the more natural look, more natural side to her. So I thought, okay, Kristen, that's good going with the flow. But here's the thing.
Flow, maybe that's just what she does anyways, and that's just something that he just so happened to like. So he just so happened to look up on it.
No, it's not something he so happen to like. He's been talking at the wedding reception how much he likes a natural woman. But Kristen, so I think that she was going with the flow.
No, Kristen doesn't give me the vibe that she's just going to do what her husband recommends because that's what he likes. I think that's just something that she just wanted to do.
Well, I'm not getting that either just based on the previews, but I'm just saying for that night, I think she was going with the flow. My opinion versus yours. We're going to agree to disagree with that. But one of the things that was also interesting, not just with Kristen and Mitch, but with Lindsey and Miguel, what's up with these couples or individuals forgetting their pajamas? You're going on the honeymoon and stuff like that, so you didn't pack no pajamas, or was it intentional?
How was that a standout scene?
Because when you get to Lindsey and Miguel, Lindsey is so pressed looking for her pajamas. You see Miguel's already in the bed. Time is ticking by, and it takes Lindsey 35 minutes. And after 35 minutes, Miguel gets up to see, what's the problem? Did you pass out in here, whatever? And she's, again, pressed because she couldn't find her pajamas. Now, that stood out to me. By this time, she should have just, sleep in your bra or something. I don't know. It wasn't that serious. But Miguel said something. He was like, it's not a red flag right now, but it's a little bit of a concern.
He said it's a magenta.
But you know what? Miguel, as the show progressed, had mentioned another source of concern. I'm like, wow. We already have Mitch, who's already concerned by himself. And then Miguel, with just little things he's seen from Lindsey for now, that's a concern. I would think he would think a concern would be from Lindsey's brother giving him the 3rd degree as the show progressed. But then we also see Stasia and Nate. Now, there was chemistry from them from very beginning. There's lots of chemistry. Physical attraction from them.
I want to call it chemistry. I would call it less. Because chemistry, you would have things that you can connect with each other besides, physical, but we will see as the show progresses.
That's right. So let's move to the next morning. The couples are waking up. They have breakfast. That's one thing I always look at when they have meals to see what it looks like or if it looks good. I thought they all had decent breakfast.
You envision yourself on the trip eating the meals?
No, I envision a good breakfast when I'm on a trip somewhere. Like, isn't that what you would like, a good breakfast? Or whatever your meal of choices of the day? Like,
no, I want a mimosa.
All right. Well, we also learned that Mitch is a picky eater. But you know what? I am not at all surprised at that. He said, you know, it's kind of like a kid where, you know, he didn't like any eggs, no sauces, no creams. And Chris was like, yeah, I can see that you don't like sour cream and different things like that, or dips. And you know what? That doesn't surprise me, because see, Mitch
is a picky person.
Yeah, and
he's a picky person, but yet he's a PETA person.
Well, he didn't say PETA, he said environmentalist, but I can see him being so picky.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Yes,
it's
I
not.
Can guarantee
you can see like maybe a nudge toward that side, but you know, anyways, PETA is separate than environmentalist, and you know, if you're a PETA person.
I mean, you could be a PETA person. We're not judging PETA people. I'm just saying.
But the point is, I wasn't surprised, because with him being an environmentalist, like I was saying, you know, he probably likes things environmentally sourced, caught, packaged, and produced. He don't like anything extra. If he liked all that,
he wouldn't be on the show. Now, would he? Because that's wasting a whole bunch of gas, whole bunch of pollution in the air. So
maybe he rode his bike. You don't know. This interview. You don't know how he got there. Maybe he's got an electric vehicle.
To Mexico. Keep going.
Oh, not to Mexico, but in general. I mean, some things are out of your control. So, and then we see Nate and Stasia. Now, this was, to me, one of the most important scenes of the show and of the next day, and just overall. When they both talked about insecurities, and then they also talked about insecurities that they felt growing up, and how they didn't necessarily fit in to, I don't know, just one group or another, because they're both of a mixed race, and they felt colorism growing up. And Nate was more emotional than Stasia, even though it was still the same. But Nate feels the type of way more so than Stasia, in my opinion, because Nate was actually abandoned by his mother, and he didn't meet her till he was 14 years old. So he gives lots of credit to his dad for continuing to raise him and to show him the way as it should be for a family, and raise him as a man. Mm-hmm. So, you know, so I felt Nathan on that, but there's something I can't put my finger on, even though he touched on it when he talked to Stasia's parents.
I think overall Nate just has like a lot of insecurities. He just, I feel like he's still trying to find himself. Mm-hmm. Whereas Stasia has already arrived.
Okay, say that again. She has already arrived.
So where they're still like, they have these two common bonds of trauma. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be kind of hard to intertwine them unless Stasia can help Nate find who he is. But will Nate want that? Now it sounds like Pastor Cal and the thing.
Moving on. So now we see the couples meet individually with the families, and we'll start off with Stasia. Stasia meets with Nate's dad and his friend, and the friend asks, so what is it that Nate doesn't know about you? And then Stasia mentions how, you know, she's determined, she's a go-getter, she gets what she wants, when she wants, how she wants, however she wants to get it, this, that. Mm-hmm. And the friend has concerns like, well, you know, Nate can be stubborn too. Now, I just want to know where he got stubborn from. I think she may have mentioned stubborn, but yeah, so they may not catch that.
Because she's set in her ways.
Yeah, could be. It seems like they have a lot of stumbling blocks ahead just based off of personality, so far, in my opinion. But Nate's dad overall lets Stasia know, like, don't hurt my boy. I love my boy. He's my, you know, we're best friends or whatever. She's like, no, I'm not going to hurt him. So now when Nate meets Stasia's parent or mother and her friends, one of the things that comes up is, so, you know, part of the vow is like the freak in the sheets kind of thing. And he was like, yeah, you know, it was awkward. He's like, yeah, so how does that deal with how you are in real life? But overall, Nate was saying, when it comes down to being romantic or along those lines of, you know, the next step, he said he is comfortable with waiting on Stasia. He's not going to push anything. And, you know, he's trying to say he's going to be a gentleman about it. And
that's what you got from the conversation? Mm-hmm. You didn't catch that he filed for bankruptcy? He has some debts.
No, we're talking about the freak of the sheets. That's the part I'm talking about. And then we
freak of the sheets. I don't care about that part. That part wasn't really as defining, because more so it's like Yeah, that's what they said, but that's not how he's trying to portray himself. But the bankruptcy thing and the debts thing is what I think Stasia's people are going to be very concerned about. Stasia has arrived.
Yes, she has.
And that could be a setback in a way.
Yeah, well, he said, he's got those bankruptcy, like you said. But he still has his day trading. And again, I still think there's something we're missing, but it's going to come out real soon based on the next week. Listen, when she's asking for a post-nup.
Mom, you need to be on the Married at First Sight fan pages and go investigate that. Since you're so concerned still.
Yeah, I am. So now we have Mitch sitting down with Kristen's mom and family. Now, I've seen a lot of comments that is about Mitch must be attracted to Kristen's mom. Now, Kristen's mom...
I don't think so.
Whatever her age is, her daughter's 32, so she's at least 50 plus. She does look good for her age. I mean, she just does. I mean, if he's attracted, okay, but I don't necessarily get attraction either. I just think that maybe he thought the first woman he saw come down the aisle in a pink dress, which I don't know why she wore pink, but you wear what you want, was his bride. But the mom asked, so what are your intentions with my daughter? And to me, Mitch gave the standard answer. I want to take care of her, make sure she's comfortable, want to make sure she's good, this and that. But at the same time, I never got that even from the conversations Mitch and Kristen had after they married. You know what I'm saying? And even up until, the last night of the honeymoon, even of the last night of the wedding. I still don't get the connection, the vibe from them. So, he may have good intentions, but I don't know. There's something that's left out of this scenario, too, with Mitch, in my opinion. So let's just move to Kristen. Mitch's brother, sister-in-law, and his mom was sitting there. And the basis of the conversation...
I think they were grilling her. And I was like, they have their nerve because Mitch...
You think they were grilling her? I think they were trying to give her the heads up. They were saying, look, Mitch is a rebel. He likes doing his own thing. Even the sister-in-law was like, we bumped heads a lot in the beginning. And, I learned how to tolerate him now. And I think they were trying to tell her, like, you need to be aware. Like, the sister-in-law was like, blink twice if you need help kind of thing. And so, like I said, I didn't see it as an interrogation. But I will say that she's going to be in for some surprises. I think they both are, personally, when it comes with their relationship. All right, so now let's move to Alexis and Justin. So, Alexis, you know what? Alexis, so far, is showing she doesn't have a filter. And that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, especially what she's saying. The first thing she says was, hey, your son is still celibate. Why is that necessary? Why is that necessary? You mentioned it at the reception to everybody to hear. And you mentioned to his mom, like, the mom don't want to hear that. And the mom and the friends sitting there looking there like, yeah, okay. To me, that was one of the most awkward conversations that they had.
Well, the way he woke up, he'd have looked like he wanted to be celibate. Nah.
Well, still, that's not something you need to announce. So Alexis asked, what's Justin's background, and the mom mentioned how Justin was engaged and they went shopping and got everything together, and like a week or two later, or something really quick, that the lady decided that she didn't want to get married, or her and Justin. Something happened where the engagement fell through and the wedding fell through. And then Alexis mentioned she's been engaged 3 times, and the mom and the friend was like, what? Well, tell me about that. She said, well, she wasn't necessarily ready, committed, and in a right space or place in her mind to get married. And that's another thing with Alexis. That's okay that you mentioned you were engaged 3 times. But you know what? That is becoming Alexis's calling card. He's celibate, and I've been engaged 3 times. I'm tired of hearing about that, Alexis. Let's hear something of value from you.
Well, they just met 24 hours ago. So let them see that piece, and we'll see how the episode keeps going.
All right. So Justin is now meeting with Alexis's sisters, and the sisters say, oh, well, he seems like he's genuine and, really caring. But then they drop the bomb on Justin, like, listen, Alexis comes from a family of strong women, and she's used to pretty much taking the lead, speaking her mind, and doing not what she wants to do, but used to just doing it whenever she wants to, because, she's got a strong personality. And then, again, how do you feel? Well, one of the sisters says, you don't really know about somebody until they're angry.
Do you agree with that?
Not really. I just think that the longer you're around someone, like, if the real you will eventually come out if you portray to be someone different. So whether you're angry or not, like, if you're already pretending like, you're someone that's not really you, whether it be job, finances, whatever, it's eventually going to catch up to you. So not necessarily when you're angry. But Justin said that, if someone's angry, his wife is angry, he'll learn how to step back, give her space and time. He said, but I'm an emotional person. So if she's crying, I'm crying. Like, we're going to work through this together. And, the sisters in their confession was like, yeah, that's cool and all, but they have reservations as well. Now, here's the one that stands out for me. Miguel and Lindsey. Now, this family right here, to me, both families are the family to watch of the season. And honestly, I would like to see more of the families on both sides.
You want to see both families?
Yes, from Miguel's sister to Lindsey's brother. Okay, so Miguel is meeting with Lindsey's brothers and her mom. And the question of sex comes up from the mom. And, of course, Miguel's like, we're going to take our time, get to know, no rush. I mean, that's the typical answer. And truly, that should be the best answer. Mm-hmm. But then when the brother, the one from the wedding, was like, he brought up religion. In the Bible it says XYZ. Mm-hmm. And Miguel's just sitting there and he's listening. And I'm not sure if the brother didn't remember that Miguel said he was not into organized religion. Or was he trying to call him back out that he wasn't on organized religion because, he's saying how, this is how they grew up to learn to do things or how things worked. And he just wanted to know where Miguel's mind was on this.
Mm-hmm. My favorite question from the brother was when he asked Miguel, like, what in your past relationships helped with the demise of your relationship? I was like, is that something you really need to know?
No, but he's really trying to find out why Miguel isn't part of no organized religion. But then when we see Lindsey meet up with Miguel's sister and friends or whoever, Miguel's sister just took over. I mean, as soon as Lindsey sat down, as soon as she sat down, she was interrogated, just like the brother did for Miguel. And the first thing she said was, so you're a Cancer, he's a Capricorn, or whatever it is, Gemini. They don't really get along? Pretty much like, why are you here? Like, did you know that? And Lindsey's like, well, I'm not into the astrology and stuff like that. And the sister is just talking so matter of fact, like, well, Miguel has done well for himself. He don't have any debt. Like, he don't like this. He don't like that. And my thing is, did she forget that Lindsey is also a doctor?
Does she care? Is the question.
No, she don't care. But when they asked Lindsey, so what is it with you? Like, what don't we know? She's like, well, I carry a large student debt. Now, who don't carry student loan debt if you've been to school, haven't paid it off? Besides Miguel.
It don't matter. Miguel doesn't have debt. They, just like we said, what I said was Stasia and Nate. Nate has some bankruptcy and debts in his corner. Mm-hmm. Stasia's family doesn't want that. Miguel doesn't have any debt. So Miguel's family doesn't want him to be with someone who has debt because, like Miguel said, he ain't trying to pay for nobody.
He said he wasn't trying to be no sugar daddy. That's what he ended up saying eventually. And I'm like, well, clearly, in my opinion, one of the reasons why Miguel might still be single when on the show is because your sister helped to run off the ex-girlfriends with her matter of fact conversation and what it was and what it wasn't.
That. I also think Miguel's he seems like a very nice guy. He seems very like giddy, he does like the cosplay and stuff. But he also seems very matter of fact, like it's his way or no way. Mm-hmm. Though he did, when her brother did bring up like, the demise in relationships, he did take account for what he has done and stuff like that. I don't know. I like Miguel, but Miguel, you have to watch out for Miguel.
Well, after all that and the couples meet back up to talk about everything happened, the only thing that stood out to me
He's giving him a magenta flag.
That's what I was going to say. The one couple said that he was giving Miguel a magenta flag. It wasn't a red flag right now, it's magenta. Well, magenta is in the red family.
It's not red yet. It looks like it's red. You have to like squint your eyes real low, like it's not red. Maybe it's purple.
Okay. So then we see The honeymoons. There's a knock at the door.
We didn't see no honeymoons. We saw the start.
Well, the start of the honeymoon. There's a knock at the door, and they're going to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
They going back to Las Vegas now. It's open.
Anyway, so one of the key things I took from them going to Puerto Vallarta and the basket that they get every time is Mitch didn't want to pop the poppers because it would cause too much trash. Because remember, he's an environmentalist. I'm like, you're in your room. It's not like you're like literally.
I know you're in a hotel
something.
room who does nothing but waste. You should have asked for an RV, sir.
I'm
Even
like,
then, you know, it still would have been polluting the air. See, I need Mitch to make up his mind on what he wants to do. Like, you can't get everything certain amount of ways. And this is a TV show. What did you expect?
I don't know. But that's already, to me, party pooper vibes. But that's just me. So then we see them get ready for the honeymoon. They're actually, I just found this interesting from Married at First Sight. We see the honeymoon basket on the plane at Puerto Vallarta. I'm like, wow, in the same episode? How come you can't do this every year? But I digress, as you said last week. So when they're on the honeymoon and they start talking as all the couples together, because, you know, they do the meetup thing, they were all asking, so what is it that you learned about each other so far, this and that? And the main conversation that stood out to me, once again, was Justin. Justin mentioned, even though things haven't gone down yet, but, you know, he woke up to his beautiful wife, and he became...
some goosebumps every time she come around, yeah, throw it up to the side, yeah. But why do we need to know that, though?
Why do we need to know that? What are you, like, preteen?
Listen, I ain't got nothing else to say, but listen.
You know,
it's just, I don't know, it's too much. But you know what? They do compliment each other. He be too much, she be too much. They could be too much together. Maybe this is a couple that works out.
Team too much. They might work out. So after all the couples talk about what it is and what it's not, they all go back to their rooms. And the one scene that stands out for me during this honeymoon is the steamiest scene since Married at First Sight New Orleans with Amani and Woody. It is now Stasia and Nate. You know, I thought Stasia was a little bit more reserved because that's how she's coming across. But that tension,
like
those sparks.
Mirla.
Yeah,
but Mirla wasn't reserved. She just needed someone to pull her out. Stasia has Nate, and they have a lustful connection, and they pull each other out. Now, did I think we'll see a scene like that from them? No,
I didn't either.
Maybe Alexis and Justin. And I know some people don't want to see that scene with Alexis and Justin, but it might be coming to you real soon.
Yeah, I thought it would probably been Alexis and Justin too, but Stasia and Nate, okay, so they made it do what it do, that the lust was there and the shower scene, you know, hey, all right now.
I wonder if they get paid extra for stuff like that.
What, with the cameras in the room? Well, they know they're being filmed, so I don't know. I doubt it though.
They trying to give OnlyFans tease.
You know, I was trying not to go there, but I did get the OnlyFans tease with that too. But anyways, like I mentioned before, we saw Ben and Morgan get married, and that hopefully they'll join everyone on the honeymoon next week. And that was pretty much the end of the episode.
Yeah, it wasn't an episode that was giving, but it wasn't boring. So I'll give Married at First Sight that. What I am excited to see, though, I'm going to skip over you for right now. We are finally going to see what the addition of the two new experts are going to be like. To me, it seems like those two new experts are going to take the place of Pastor Cal and, oh Lord, I forgot her name.
Dr. Viviana?
No. Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper.
Oh, okay.
Instead of them joining them in like little sessions, it seems like they're gonna join them at different sessions. So now it makes me wonder, like, what are Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper gonna do? Are they outside recruiting for next Married at First Sight? Like, what is their role now, since the two new experts are going to be in mediating with the couples? So I'm interested to see.
Me too. So
what are you looking forward to?
I'm just looking forward to, honestly, the entire rest of the season, because we have a few wild cards on here this season. Like individually wild cards, and I'm looking forward to the experts too. But I think this should be a pretty decent show this season. So
yeah, well, let us know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for joining us. For our old subscribers, our OGs, thank you so much for sticking with us. For our new subscribers, hey, how you doing? Thank you for subscribing. Make sure you tell other people to subscribe as well, because we are going to come out with some new videos para Mom. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, was that your Puerto Vallarta?
No, we're doing Love After Lockup. Mom has some of her journeys for her cancer and her cookbook coming out, so look out for those real soon.
Thank you all again for watching. And as always, live simply, be grateful.